Imagine a 19-year-old college dropout convincing some of the most powerful people in America, former Secretaries of State, media moguls, billionaire investors, that she had invented a machine that could diagnose hundreds of diseases from a single drop of blood. Now, imagine that machine never actually worked. Not once. This is the story of Theranos, a company that reached a valuation of $9 billion built almost entirely on a lie. In 2003, Elizabeth Holmes dropped out of Stanford University to found a company with an extraordinary promise: revolutionize the entire blood testing industry. Instead of needles and vials, Theranos claimed they could run hundreds of medical tests using just a tiny finger prick of blood, delivering faster, cheaper, and less painful diagnostics than anything the industry had ever seen. The vision was genuinely revolutionary. Cheaper blood tests could mean earlier disease detection, lower healthcare costs, and testing accessible to millions of people who couldn't afford traditional lab work. It was the kind of idea that sounded like it could change medicine forever. Holmes was magnetic. She wore black turtlenecks reminiscent of Steve Jobs, spoke in an unusually deep voice, and radiated an intensity that captivated everyone around her. Investors, journalists, and business partners fell under her spell almost instantly. By 2014, Theranos had raised hundreds of millions of dollars from prominent investors and assembled a board of directors that read like a who's who of American power. Former Secretaries of State, retired military generals, and influential business leaders. The company's valuation soared to $9 billion, making Holmes the youngest self-made female billionaire in the world, at least on paper. Major retail chains signed massive partnership deals to place Theranos testing centers directly inside their stores, believing they were bringing revolutionary healthcare technology directly to millions of everyday customers. There was just one catastrophic problem: the technology didn't actually work. Behind the scenes, Theranos' proprietary blood testing device, called the Edison, was wildly inaccurate and unreliable. Rather than admit the technology wasn't ready, the company secretly ran the vast majority of patient tests using traditional, modified third-party lab machines, all while publicly claiming these results came from their revolutionary device. Employees who raised concerns about inaccurate test results were often dismissed, intimidated, or pressured into silence through aggressive non-disclosure agreements and the constant threat of lawsuits. Patients receiving these inaccurate blood tests faced potentially serious consequences. Some received false positive results, suggesting they had life-threatening conditions they didn't actually have. Others received false negative results, meaning real health problems went completely undetected. For years, this elaborate deception continued, protected by aggressive legal intimidation, a culture of absolute secrecy, and Holmes's extraordinary ability to charm powerful people into unquestioning trust. Then, in 2015, investigative journalist John Carreyrou at the Wall Street Journal began digging into the story, driven by tips from former employees deeply troubled by what they had witnessed inside the company. His reporting exposed a devastating truth. Theranos' core technology had never reliably worked. Patient safety had been repeatedly compromised, and the entire company's valuation was built on carefully constructed lies and misleading demonstrations designed specifically to fool investors and partners. The fallout was swift and brutal. Regulatory agencies revoked Theranos laboratory licenses. Major retail partnerships collapsed overnight. Investors watched billions of dollars in paper wealth evaporate as the company's true situation became public knowledge. By 2018, Theranos had completely dissolved, and federal prosecutors formally charged Elizabeth Holmes with multiple counts of wire fraud and conspiracy. In January of 2022, after a lengthy, closely watched trial, Holmes was found guilty on 4 counts of fraud. She was ultimately sentenced to over 11 years in federal prison, beginning a sentence that shocked Silicon Valley and the broader business world alike. The Theranos scandal remains one of the most sobering lessons in modern business history. It's a stark reminder that charisma, confidence, and powerful connections can convince even the smartest, most experienced people to overlook glaring red flags, especially when the promised outcome seems too important and too good to seriously question. So here's a question for you. Do you think Theranos succeeded for so long because of Elizabeth Holmes' manipulation alone, or because investors and partners simply wanted to believe the lie was true? Let me know in the comments below.